What's up, everybody? My name is CoalFire, and I felt like doing another community Q&A video because I absolutely love having you guys involved with creating some of the content for the channel, letting you guys put your mark on some of the videos. And I had this idea that I am a bit of a horror junkie when it comes to like movies, and I fall asleep to creepypastas every night. Games are a little hit and miss if you've been watching any of the recent series. But I wanted to ask you guys for some experiences or stories about nightmares or sleep paralysis or anything that you've experienced that might have seemed like some sort of supernatural or unexplained event. And in asking these questions of you, I wanted to share some of my own as well. So, growing up, I lived in this house that was built in the very, very early 1900s, and it came full with like servants' quarters on the top floor and all of this like creepy, rusted down shit on the very top floor. And the entire time that I lived there, I would have this recurring nightmare every couple of months where the spot below the restroom in the servants' quarters, it was like a four-story house, and my sister and I's bedrooms were on the second floor, and the servants' quarters were on the third floor. This is including the basement. And I would have this recurring nightmare where the ceiling below the bathroom in the servants' quarters would just start spreading this red, bloody stain over and over and over again. I had this dream probably 40 or 50 times over the, I think, 11 or 12 years that I lived there. And it always made me wonder if something horrible had happened up there. I don't really believe in any supernatural stuff, but it's stuff like that that makes me question it. Another recurring nightmare that I had when I was a little kid was being trapped in a dumpster full of dirty clothes. I know this isn't the scariest thing in the world, but as a small child, it was absolutely terrifying. So this dumpster of dirty clothes was just in this pure black void where there were these, like, I want to say like Vogon-looking monsters. Volgon? I don't know that much about Hitchhiker's Guide. That's just the best way I can describe them. But there's this door on the other side of them, and the entire like goal of the dream was to get out of the dumpster and through the door. But as soon as I got out of the dumpster, you just start like running in slow motion, and I wake up every time one of the damn things catches me. I've had plenty of the classic teeth falling out, accidentally scratching my skin open, nightmares, that kind of shit. But there's one thing that I want to attribute to a dream or a nightmare or something along those lines, but I can't say for sure because the human memory is deceptive and inaccurate. So this is again in the house that I grew up in that was very, very, very old. The last couple of weeks we lived there, right before we moved. So I was 17, 18 at the time. I can't quite remember. We moved right before I left for college. And the last couple of nights, right as I was falling asleep, I would hear these whispers in my ear. I couldn't understand what they were saying, and I didn't know if they had any kind of malicious intent or anything. Nothing weird other than the voices ever came of it. But I remember these, like, ominous whispers every single night for, like, the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to leaving the house. And part of me wants to think that it was some, I don't want to say spirit, because I don't believe in that shit. Like, saying goodbye from having lived there for as long as we did, but the rational parts of my brain say that it was some sort of mental goodbye that manifested as these weird dreams where I was still awake laying in bed and these kinds of things happened. I don't trust my brain enough to, you know, remember this thing as an actual event. I think most likely it was these dreams that I had, and I remember them as right when I was going to sleep, because they just happened to be dreams of me being in bed experiencing these things. Because I don't believe in any supernatural stuff, anything whatsoever. Sure, there's plenty of stuff that is unexplained, but that doesn't mean there's no explanation. But in this ridiculous rant of mine, I wanted to ask you guys some of your stories, and whether or not you want to leave that as a comment, and I will attribute the stories to you, your name, whatever, your username. Or if you have a story that you want to tell that you don't want attributed to you or your account, send me a message, and I will blur out your name, remove any trace of you from it, if you do want to share in that way. So, yeah, I thought this would be kind of a fun community sharing, kind of personal horror stories kind of thing. Nightmares, sleep paralysis. Oh, sleep paralysis, that's right. I've never had it myself, but I have had situations where I wake up in the middle of the night not remembering if I have dreamt anything, but just being overtaken by this huge wave of fear and dread, like something is sitting right behind me. From what I can remember, I could still move, so it wasn't sleep paralysis. It was just like a transition from sleep to waking nightmare. I don't know what that kind of thing is. I haven't looked into that at all. But again, if you guys want to share these, I would love to have them be a part of the channel, make a video of either just a straight up read and reaction to them, or I could, if they're long enough, I could turn them into like a collection of short stories if you guys want to write them that way. I am completely open to suggestions. It doesn't have to be one video, but I wanted to include you guys with this, and this was just something that I came up when I was brainstorming last night. So, yeah. Cool. Bye.